Welcome, .NET friends. It is time for another episode of the On .NET Live Show. Our mission here on this show, if you're tuning in for the very first time, is to empower you, our .NET community members, to achieve more. I'm your familiar host, Scott Addie, and I'm joined by familiar co-hosts, David Pine and Frank Boucher.
Hello. Hello, hello.
We are excited to welcome Tomo to the show today. I'll just tell you right now, buckle up. We're going to learn all about Orleans. Tomo, would you like to briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Tomo Takaoka, and then I'm from Japan, but now I'm living in the South California, the Long Beach, California, and then I'm working for the .NET, and then making the small and medium enterprise application. And this last year, we have first appointed the Microsoft MVP, and I just got the second ring this week.
Oh, congrats! This is super cool. Love that.
Congrats. And I'm sure it's very well deserved. So Orleans, that's the topic for today. Why don't we just get right into it? I know you've got a slide deck prepared, and I'm sure we'll have a ton of questions.
Sure. So today I will talk about especially distributed application made with Orleans and Dapr and event sourcing using Sekiban. So let me go into the slide. And I work for the company called JTech Creations and JTech Japan, and it's based on Japan. And I'm making the open source framework for Sekiban, event sourcing, and CQRS Framework, and result box. It's called a railway-oriented programming library. So today I'm talking about especially event sourcing and actor model, including Orleans and Dapr. And also the architecture and then deploy to the Azure, especially Azure App Service and container apps. And of course, we need to talk about AI and then how we can improve the productivity using AI with event sourcing and actor model. So first, I want to run the survey, and then it is a real-time survey, and you can open the link this one, and we can start the survey. If you are in the show, looking at the show, please click. If you want, you can put the name, and you can click the yes, and you can submit the response. And if we can see the real time, how many people responded. So let's see.
You want to bring back the QR code? I didn't have.
Oh, yeah, sure. QR code is this.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Let me see. Okay, yeah, people started coming in. And okay, oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, people start coming in. Thank you for that link. Oh, okay, maybe there's a time. Okay, so now we have some members. So let's start. Oh, yeah, link is in YouTube as well. So let's start. And then this one, you can submit the response, and I can control the next question like this. Do you know event sourcing? And you can respond yes, and yes, I know. Basic concept, or just heard it, or not so much. And I like it, so I'm gonna put the yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, many people know, some people not much. So you can be introduced today. Okay, so next question.
I love that you immediately just come out with like a demo app that is working flawlessly live. That's awesome.
I'm glad it's working. Yeah. Okay, so now C# is very much used for the event sourcing, and then the Greg Young that started working with the C#, and then there's a lot of sample code, and then there's the famous library like Martin, Event Flow, Eventchess, and other library, or many people like to implement their own. So let's see. So some people implemented their own. I use Sekiban and also on implementation. And this one you can click multiple. So that. And okay, so many people haven't used it yet. So this time probably it's gonna be good opportunity to learn about it. Okay. So next one is actor model. So including actor models, there's many actor model. If you know very well basic concept, just heard it, or not so much. I like it. I know very well. Yeah, okay. Many people know the concept. And you can see the real time, like up and down, so we can see. And it's going to show up on your side as well. Okay, so it's like many people know the basic concept. That's good. Okay, so how about, have you used actor model?
I like how David, you plug. Yeah, I wrote the doc about it.
There's a famous library in the C#. I think the Orleans is the most known, and then Dapr is kind of new, and then for the Java and Scala, there's Akka, and Erlang and Elixir is very popular as well. I've used Dapr, Orleans.
I heard of Elixir. There's some streamer that used that.
Elixir is really powerful. Like Erlang is incredible.
They're kind of like start with like a concept. They started with Erlang and then they continue with. Oh yeah, many people use that. That's great. The one thing is you don't like. It's very hard to implement actor system yourself. So many people just use the library. That's very popular to use the library. And then I'm going to talk about AI later. So I'm going to go for the AI survey too. How much do you use for AI coding? And for this time, I think many people use a lot. I think more than the. Yeah, sometimes error happens. I'm going to submit again. Okay, good. It worked. Yeah, okay. Some people has more than half. Some people have around 25, very few, and 0, no. So that means everyone is using the AI programming.
Or if they are not using it, they don't want to say.
Okay.
I don't want to be excluded. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, next one is, which coding app do you use? And then this is a multiple selection. So if you use multiple, you can select it. I use GitHub Copilot, Cloud Code, and then recently I'm started using Codex. Yeah, Cursor is very popular, and then now there's many other one like Windsurf or some Kilo or Rider that's true that Rider has a AI built it in.
I'm curious, is it backed by any of these models that we're mentioning or other providers?
I think they use the same model.
Okay.
It just, I think pricing model is
sure
each different.
Yeah.
And then the last question is, which language model is your favorite? So you can only select one. My favorite was Cloud Code, Sonnet until last week, but this week I've been using GPT-5 and it's great. I think this week my favorite is GPT-5.
So every week it's going to change, but likely.
Yeah, I know. But basically, I use the Sonnet and
Yeah.
3.5, 3.7. But first time, I think the GPT-5 is catching up, and then I really liked it.
Well, it's so new. Everybody want to try it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I did on purpose last week spend a lot of time like experimenting with it.
Mhm.
I think that's what you need to do.
Yeah. It's going to change every month or every week. Yeah. So that's the questions. I thank you for joining to the survey. And then the announcement is this is made with Sekiban, with Orleans and event sourcing and this real-time service system. So it's like this, and this is made with the Bible coding. I didn't even almost check the code. I just said, do this, do that, and then they made it. Like that.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for that, all the answer, and then let's go to the history first. So,
well, real quick, I just want to interject and say something. Like I was just thinking about that. Like, so vibe coding is really taken off, especially in the last 6 months. It's just incredible. But I want people to just pump the brakes for a second, kind of zoom out and think about trying to implement that type of functionality on your own 2-3 years ago. Like how much effort that would have taken. Like the research for the different technologies, the different stacks, the deploying of the things, the flow, like the wizard desks, like the event sourcing, everything involved there. That would have taken like an average, like even good developer, a week to like implement something that beautiful and seamless and resilient. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And this one does take like 2-3 days.
Sure.
And then also there's a bug that it's hard to fix.
Yeah.
And I didn't touch the code, but I debug with, and then say, do this, do that, more specific, like debugs. So it's not like nobody, you don't know nothing, you cannot make that.
Right.
But you can make the until like little bit good, you can make it just by coding.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So history was to make this project. It was I was using MBC, and it tended to become a fat controller, and then it was very hard to maintain. So we changed to the DDD and clean architecture, and it was good. It was good because you can focus on the model, and you can make the boundary in the context. But it was a database heavy application with the heavy systems. So that's why we need to find some other solution. And we found the event sourcing. And then we start making the event sourcing with 2022. And then we first made it for our own company. And December 2023, we released as an open source software. But we want to make, I wanted to make the more distributed system. So that's why we made it to the integrated Orleans. And then I submit this talk. I was only have the Orleans, but after that, Dapr came, and then we implemented Dapr as well. And then not just Dapr C#, we implemented on the Dapr TypeScript. So now we can work almost same concept, C#, Dapr, C#, Dapr TypeScript, and Orleans as well. And then now that there's a new concept called dynamic consistency boundary. It's called DCB. And then we working on that as well. So we can make very fast because of the help of the AI.
Can you? I'm sorry. What's the last one? What does it mean? Dynamic, consistent boundary.
I will explain later, but it's like a new kind of event sourcing.
Okay, I was like, what? What is it? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. And then the foundation. So let's review what is event sourcing and what is actor model. And the event sourcing is like the picture in the right side. When you make the system with make the shopping cart add coffee, add orange, add tea, and then the last, remove orange. So instead of removing the record, the event sourcing just save coffee added, orange added, tea added, and then instead of deleting or updating, we can just add that record says orange removed. And then if you see all those four events, we can see one added and one removed, so 0 left. And the good things about it is that later, if the CEO said that I want to recommend the one that deleted for the customer later, and then if you delete the record, we can say like, I don't know about that, but if we keep like this, you can say which one's removed, and then we can recommend like that. So that's why the event sourcing is very strong for the data consistency and then data analyzation for the future.
Like auditing, right? Like you
Sure.
can audit the trail of everything that happened rather than the state of now, which is sometimes obscure. Awesome.
Yeah. So that way, before it was the storage is expensive, but storage and internet is faster. It's getting more realistic recently. And then the event sourcing comes with CQRS, and CQRS stand for the command and query responsibility segregation. So, which means when you're making command, you just focus about command. And then when you make query, you just focus about query. So that bridge is event. So if you save the event, you can just distribute it, the event data, to project or change the data model and then just display. So that can make it the separation of the concern. So when you're making command, you just focus about what kind of truth, which means event that can be saved. And when you display, how you make the change of event to the display data. So that's and then the event sourcing is bounded with the aggregate, so set of the data. And then within the set of the data, you can keep the consistency. And then that way, the other part can be scaled. And then the other kind of I mean, it's not the DCB, but it's a new trend within the event sourcing world is the decide pattern. The Martin and then the Wobbling also recently implemented this feature. It's like instead of thinking aggregate as an object, just think the command handler as decide function, which means command data and the current state as a data as an input, and then just output is event. So this you can think just as a function. So you don't need to think about as object or private method or within object access this or access that. Just think about what input and what output. So, and when you make the object, just new event with current state can make the new state, and then this can be looped. If new event comes, just feed the same event, same state. So that way, two function, decide function and evolve function. So that way, when you think about the decide function, just think about input and output. So that way, it's now recently many people focus about the function programming, and C# is getting really good with function programming. So that's what little bit of the mental change, even though same event sourcing is improving.
Awesome. Yeah, we do have a question here from
Sure.
a viewer on YouTube. Suni is asking, is event sourcing overkill if all you need is auditing of entity updates?
Yes, that's a good point. And I think for the something feels easy, something feels simple, it could be overkill. But for us, we got used to, and then we use for almost everything, like even the simple updates. And so that's what I'm going to talk about, because it's good with AI. So that's why we're choosing for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to extend this question.
Sure.
So maybe in this case it was overkill, but I'm guessing if you want to start using event sourcing, like a simple case like that would be a better solution to start compared to like a more complex one.
Yeah, I think the simple one, you can start with simple one. And then even though any business has a decision or like interaction with multiple people, so that I think eventually some part of the system get complicated, even though it started simple. So I think it's good to use event sourcing, especially for your core business.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's why we are working on the just event sourcing without actor model, but actor model start to be in need because, like I said, we manage the consistency with the aggregate. And if you want to scale out to the 2 server, if it could be happening like we're trying to access with 2 server with same data. So that's why we cannot make sure the consistency. So that's why many companies are using event sourcing with actor models. That's why we are start using the actor model. Is there a question?
No, it was more or less just the comments I was putting up on
good.
screen. Yeah.
Thank you. So let's move on to the actor model. And the actor model simply said, just managing simple object and don't do the same things to the same object at the same time. So each actor or grain in the Orleans has a messaging system. So the actor system manages request for this action, request for that action. That doesn't happen in the same time with the same object. So that way, we don't need to worry about this value is going to be accessed with 2 methods in same time. So that way, we don't need to worry about the lock, or we don't need to worry about the thread, consistency atomic and stuff like that. So that's what makes the programmer very easy to work with. And actor model has a distributed feature. So it can be managed with each actor, and then when like the server 1 has the actor and then try to send a message to server 2, we don't need to think about that. We just need to say the address. It's called actor ID or grain ID. And you just call the address. You don't need to worry about which server there is. Just call it on the one system, and then they just pass the message and the return messages. So actor model is basically making threading, making difficult things simple. And the Orleans and then Dapr is a special feature called virtual actor model. The actor and then the other actor model has a tree diagram. Parent is this, this child is this, and then grandchild like this. So you need to always like go to the root and then make the address. But Orleans just has the interface and actor ID, the grain ID. So just those 2 can be set, and then we can start using. So very easy to use for the programmers. So it's like you're using the regular object-oriented programming. So that's with the distributed feature. And the Orleans have the built-in persistent and streaming options, and Dapr also has the Azure Content Apps availability, so it's easy to deploy to the clouds. And then the Sekiban has special feature. Sekiban, you made the model or domain for the Sekiban for Orleans. you can bring just same model to the Dapr with the same way. So you can start making with Orleans, and when you deploy, when you decided to go with the Dapr, you can just bring the domain to the new projects. So let's do the demo. Okay, let's demo with the mouse. Okay. Okay. So it's very easy. Just I released the template. So if you have this folder is empty, so you first install the templates from the .NET new command. And then the second, when you make the Orleans project, you can just .NET new, Sekiban, Orleans Aspire, and the project name is My Orleans, and then run this. And it's installed to the My Orleans. And let's make the Dapr project as well. And then like this, .NET new, Sekiban Dapr Aspire. So it's just the different names of the template, and then My Dapr. And then now you can have the Orleans project and then Dapr project. And let's look at this one, and then open with the Rider. I saw many people are using the Rider, so I'm so happy. I really like the Rider. And then let me see the presentation mode. Presentation mode on, and then view, toolbar, and explorer. Okay, so we use Aspire, and Aspire is very good with making all the necessary environment for the local development. And what we do is just hit set HTTPS, and then it's just run. So let's see what's happening. And then where's that? Oh, it's not this one. Where's that? Oh, it stops. Sometimes happen. Some services are not able to resolve the service. Oh, that's weird. Let me see. Let me build again. I don't know why this happens. Let me try this. Oh, configuration. And yeah, it's not app service. You need to run the app host, of course, for the Aspire. So let's see. It should be fine now. Okay. And let me see. You click this link and you open up this, and it's already Azure storage, and then the Postgres for the event data is open. And then let's see the web front end. And then for the weather, I'm already making the built in the template for weather editing feature. Just say Los Angeles, and then set the date for today, and then temperature, and then it's warm, and add forecast, and then you can add it. And then, I said Los Angeles, but it's actually Los Angeles. You edit and update and update it, and even the removed, and it's gone. But it's not actually gone, and then I built it in the PG admin. And if you go to the server, let's see the Postgres data and database, Sekiban Postgres, schemas, and tables, events. Okay, so that's what we can see, all rows. So instead of the removing Los Angeles records, it just has a record for inputted and location updated and deleted. So like this, event sourcing, you delete the data, but actually it just, the event is saved as deleted. So let's stop this as Orleans. And then let's close this. And then let's see Dapr project. Trust and open.
So are you using Dapr in this place to kind of replace what you had with Aspire before, or are they both using Aspire?
They both using Aspire, and then this is like a, make the template with different locations, so it's like a completely separate project.
Love it.
Yeah, and then we need to set the app host to HTTPS, and then just run this. And so Dapr has a different, the component which is Dapr has a API project with sidecar, and then event relay project, and then also the sidecar. So Dapr is a sidecar-based actor model. So it's always there's main program, and then in the same server, the sidecar is running. But the program, the domain is the same, so the program is the same. So if you go this and add new, let's make it Tokyo, and then the hot, and add forecast, and edit location, ABC, updated, and removed. So now we made two different projects, the Orleans or Dapr, and same kind of program, but this one is for the Dapr project. So let me show you a little bit of the program. In the domain, all the Sekiban related code is there. So there's the aggregates, projections, and value object. And then for the weather forecast, there's simple commands like this, what we see. Input weather forecast, update weather forecast location, and delete weather forecast command. And the event is same, like input it, update it, and delete it. It's a simple things, but it's already built it in. The code is also built it in. So if you see this as a sample, and then you can build for that your own program. Any questions? No?
Well, we have one question in the chat.
Sure.
Maybe now is a good time to take that. Alexander asks this question: can the consistency of aggregate processing commands in parallel threads be achieved with simple optimistic concurrency checks? And furthermore, does introducing Orleans or Dapr as a dependency pay off in some other way?
Sure. The consistency is, you can use a simple optimistic concurrency check as well, but the event sourcing way of using is you can make the state for the multiple types. For example, if it's weather forecast, it's like regular weather forecast with deleted weather forecast. So in the data, the programming type, the class type can be changed. So one thing we can do is, if it's deleted, you cannot change the name. Or like if shopping cart is already purchased, you cannot be adding more items because you can mix up the shopping cart. So you can use a computer like a programming state type as a protector, like only you can do this action in this state. So that's the first question. And the second question is actor model can handle many threads if it's not in the same object. So that's why we can scale more or scale even in the different computer. So that's why it's hard to achieve this with all your own program. Okay.
Awesome.
Good. Okay, so now, so for the deployment, and it's like this, the deployment is like this, and like this, the survey system, admin website is, okay, so I didn't show the admin website. For the surveys, the admin side is like this. It's more complicated. So if you go to start display, the client size that changed, or you can open the link and then go changed. And if I change to this start, changed, and then if you view, you can see everybody's response. And then so like this website is made with two different, the Blazor web service. So front end has two different. So if you like the TypeScript, you can make with Next, or like React as well. And backend is made with the C# and directly linked with Orleans. So the front end with especially the BFF send the command for the backend, and then backend for the Orleans as a command, and then Orleans handles clustering, state, streaming, and all those difficult stuff, and then saves the event to the Cosmos DB. And the app service can be also scaled out if you have more power for the computer resources. And then we can put behind the VNet, so that way, and then use the BFF, so the outside cannot directly contact with backend. Only the backend for the front end can contact. So that way we can assure the security. So that's the usual deploy model. And then deploy can be done with the Bicep, and then we can release to the app service or Azure Container Apps. So let me show you the code for the, let me see, open, code. And this templates not only have the, maybe a little bit bigger, yeah. Not only have the source code, but also the infrastructure Bicep as well. So Azure App Service and Azure Content App. So you can choose for the Orleans project, you can choose both. And then if you go to the How MD, it's explain how to log into the Azure, and also the how to make the setting file. And then if you make the setting file, you can just do this, create resource group and the run Bicep, and there is a main Bicep, and you can deploy them all at once. And this only deploys the infrastructure. So deploy this, let me see, deploy, give the user access to the keyboard, deploy for the backend, and deploy for the front end. The Azure Content Apps has all the Bicep setting too, and then the How setting. It's a little bit more complicated because you need to make the container registry. But even though you don't use the Sekiban, if you see the internet, there's very few the Orleans deployment setting. So if you see this, you can see how you can set up the Orleans, and then so you can, if you only use the Orleans, you can refer this setting, and then you can make your own Orleans applications. And then
so I'm really curious now, was this infrastructure
Sure.
all these markdown files. Was this vibe coded also?
Sure.
Yeah.
I was a beginner for the bicep before I start this.
I love it. Awesome. That's cool.
But for the Azure Content Apps, I use a Content Apps specialist to make it because I didn't know enough for the Content Apps, so I couldn't even make it with the vibe coding. But the Dapr is made with the vibe coding, and then it works very well.
Love it.
Yeah, you guessed it right. Okay. So that was a demo. And then next for the AI. So we are already talking a lot of AI stuff. And then I made this article in the hash node. And let me see. I didn't send this to the. Let me send this to the. Okay, so I send it to Studio Chat. And so it's called regret-free architecture for the AI era. Why event sourcing is good? Because it doesn't delete. So you might hear a lot of story for the regular state sourcing. You can update or you can delete the record, and the AIs made the weird code and deleted the important data. So it could not happen, but it's also very difficult to review all the AI code because AI can make thousands or tens of thousands code every week. So just reviewing the code is difficult. But if you make with event sourcing, of course, you still need to review well because it's in the user system, you can delete or update to make the mess, but still, it's still recoverable because all the original data is saved. So it doesn't happen that very bad situation. It takes effort, but you can bring back the customer's important data. And also the actor model is very good for the AI era because we make the MVP and we make the small product and we deploy, and then actor model can be used app service, and then my sample project can run in $15 for a month. So of course, if you access that $15 project is soon need to be changed the app service quarter. So you need to put the second or third scale out, and it's going to cost more. But still, you can make it small, and then you can gradually increase the loads. So that's why I think the event sourcing and actor model mix is very good for AI age. And also, the LLM is trained by the word. So, and the stories. And then the event history is like a story. You make this, somebody changed that, but somebody didn't approve this, or somebody buy this, or those stories are very easy to understand with the AI. And also they have very good understanding of a general CQRS and the actor system concept. So, but what we need to do is something like the specific library implementation. Of course, they don't know, and then we make new one, and then they don't train for that. So that's when it comes with MCP servers. And first, we are making all the one document, like instruction for Sekiban. But first, it was 500 lines, and then it comes to 1,000 lines, and 2,000 lines. And then AI is just taking a lot of context. But using MCP, and just they have a chapter, and then they choose what you need to do for the command, what you need to do the queries, and then what you need to do the setups, and then those bits of the information that doesn't take that much space, so that's why we make the Sekiban MCP. And Sekiban MCP, let me see, in the Sekiban website, there's MCP section. I made that with Vibe coding too, with the SSE server that in the MCP, the GitHub. And then it says, let me see, where is it? Okay. Sekiban MCP is Sekiban Dark MCP, Azure website, dotnet/SSE. And then you can add with Cloud Code or GitHub Copilot. And then when you use this, we can say like ask Sekiban MPC for details. And so that way the AI asks, oh, how can I do this? How can I do that? And then MCP answers. You need to, and then send the sample codes. So it more consistent result. Okay, and so when we are talking about the CQRS, I talked about it's separate of the concerns. So when we talk about the command, you need to focus about command for the command. And then when you make query, you can focus on the queries. So that way, that using event sourcing and actor model, you can focus on the one place and forget about the other. So you don't make too many things in one class. So that way, it's hard to make mistake for the AI as well. Because if it's regular state sourcing program, in the one data is accessed by this object on the other object, if you only change this one, other one is going to break, and that's going to change the reading model, and then also like that can make mess. But for this, you can focus on the one function to what kind of event do you need to make, what kind of event do you need to change to queries. So that way, it's like the car is with a guardrail. So if it's hard to go in the wrong direction, that helps AI to program better. And before dynamic consistent boundary, I'm going to show a little bit of the, let me see. I didn't have the time to, okay. I have this, okay. I have the gist, github.com, and then my page. I made with AI, what kind of sample program can we make? It's like food delivery demo. It's not complicated. It's just build a simple food delivery system, demonstrate event sourcing patterns. And then I took like 20 minutes. And then for today, let me see, CD, LS, and the CD pre, CD, my OD. And then open. So this is what the AI made in 20 minutes. Let's close this down. And then I use, this time I use GPT-5 with Copilot and up host HTTP. Let me see. Let's see how it runs. Okay, this one here. Okay, so this one also Orleans, almost same project. The one that made with template with that instruction, and then make this. It was a weather app that originally, and then they copy it, and then they make the menu like this: burger, fries, soda, salad, and then if you click add to cart and go to cart. And then I don't know why it takes so long time to loading. It was happening when I was making it too.
Well, your app just crashed now.
Oh yeah. So okay.
The results of vibe coding in 20 minutes.
That's why you need the debugging skills. Okay, so let me see.
And that's a shameless plug for like Aspire and local dev, having the dashboard there so you can dig into the errors.
That's great, Sometimes I can just copy this and then put it back.
Did you stop your previous application?
It could be. Let me see. That might
just
be.
Because like if you're
I think it might be just a timeout. So let me open this again. Yeah. It wasn't. Okay, let me see. Click the burger. Go to cart. Oh, okay. So it's very simple. It's just add the soda and then go to cart and then soda is added. And you can do clear cart or place order. And it doesn't reload because of it's not really made well.
Yeah.
But if you reload it, it's just submitted. So it's like this. This is like 15 minutes, but after this, you need to tweak it, or like you need to check the command and queries and stuff, and then you need to start editing. But it's good to make the MVC, and then it's really good with how the MCP helps to code. And what I did is just open up the VS Code and then just copy this instruction. No, not this one. The one that I was doing, the gist, and then paste it and then just do that, like that. So that way, you can start using AI with event sourcing and actor model. So last 10 minutes that I'm going to try to explain dynamic consistency boundary. I told you it's like a new kind of the event sourcing. So this is...
We can call it DCB. Yeah.
DCB, yeah. It's called DCB. Dynamic Consistency Boundary, which means that you can see the previous... This is like a regular event sourcing. It just makes the partition with the aggregate. So each aggregate can be really strong consistency. But if you want to aggregate for control the consistency, for example, the class can be 10 people and 1 people can only take 5 class. So, but that is a different aggregate. So to do that, you need to use sagas. So you do the first aggregate. Of course, you need to check before, but if check before and then you need to run the first aggregate command and event, and then if you succeed, you do the second. But before you do the second, some other people can put the other event on the second aggregate, and then that makes inconsistency. And then if you happen to have the error back in the second one, you need to cancel the first one. So that is called saga. So it's very straightforward, but it's not easy to make this system saga cancel this, cancel that. If you 4, 5, 6, you need to go back all. It's not easy. But the new one, dynamic consistency boundary, saves the multiple tag for one event. So one event can check multiple tag and then run the optimistic concurrency, the optimistic check for each tag. And then if everything passed, just save event with tags together. So dynamic consistency boundary is like over the aggregate transaction for the event sourcing. Of course, it's harder to make this system more than one aggregate focused system. But if we successfully made this, when we make the domain, it's only one command, use case command, saving one event that can make multiple consistency together. So that way, the developers and then the AI can be very easy to program the domain. So that's the dynamic consistency boundary. That's the new idea. And then there's very few, but the very famous the Java library Axon have supported since this year. And then there's a website called dcb.events. And then the DCB has started implementing many libraries, but there's no C# yet. So that's what we are working on, and then hopefully made it to the first C# library that supports dynamic consistency boundary.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, awesome if it works.
Yeah.
But we are still like, not sure that we're going to all into the DCB, but, now we can try to make the project that, we imagine with the fast coding with the AI. So we try to make both and see which one we like better. And about that is finished the content. If you have questions.
Yeah, I haven't seen any recently. This has been really well explained and very thorough and lots of different examples. So this has been great.
So let me go into the summary. So now the program is designed for human and AIs. So when we design the framework, when we design the systems, we need to think how it integrates with AI coding or AI programming or the AI integrating data and stuff. So for that, I think keeping all the data for reference for the future that's used for the event sourcing is good. And also, now that once some people get viral, it's a lot requests coming in same time. But we cannot design the system for distributed system easily. But with the power of the ACTA model, or leans and Daprs and stuff, we can achieve that. So that's good designing for human and LLMs. And what we are trying to do for near future is DCB alpha and feedback group, and also going for the AWS, Dynamo, or browser. You can run the event sourcing inside the browser with IndexedDB. And also the TypeScript, many people using for the backend, so TypeScript. And Cloudflare has the durable object, which is very similar to ACTA model. So we want to try to implement as well. And then MCP and the event-driven improvement. So that's what Sekiban is trying to do. So we want to make the very easy development experience for all the developers. And we offer this for the open source completely, and we still haven't put any restriction yet. So you can start using today with same things that we are using right now. And ACTA model and functional patterns, MCP and DCB, and design architecture and tooling for both human cognition and machine retrieval. And we have a GitHub, JTech Japan, Sekiban, and MCP endpoint, and then I'm the blog, and then the DCB reference. And if you have questions, you can always contact X or GitHub, Tomohisa. That's my account.
All right.
Awesome.
With that, we're almost at time. Why don't we wrap things up for today? I don't see any more questions in the chat. As usual, I'd like to thank all of our viewers, whether you're tuning in for the first time or you're consistently here. We appreciate your presence and all the engagement and questions in the chat. Today's show was recorded as are all of our other streams. You can find those over at dot.net/live. Join us next week. We'll be back same day, same time. We'll be joined by guest Miriam Assis, and we'll talk about compliance in .NET applications. See everyone then. Thank you.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye, everybody.